Welcome to Seattle College's international programs and our show Conversations With, where we talk to people that help you understand how you too can be an international student in the United States and why Seattle Colleges should be your first choice. We'll talk to students and staff and agents and government folks, all kinds of people about what you can expect when you're getting ready to apply or travel here, what you'll experience while you're with us, and how it can all lead to an amazing life. Don't forget to check out the Seattle College's International Programs website at intl.seattlecolleges.edu, where you can find a treasure trove of information about the school, the programs here, and best of all, fill out and submit your application. Again, that's intl.seattlecolleges.edu. Hey everybody, welcome back to Seattle College's Conversations With here at Seattle Central today. I am with our Director of Student Services.
Hello.
Very important position for you once you get here. And even kind of before, really.
Yeah, sometimes.
All right. Well, we're going to get all into that in just a sec. But you want to tell them who you are and how long you've been here. And then we'll maybe talk about where you come from.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Deleasha Vincent. As Evan said, I'm the Director of International Student Services here at Seattle Colleges. I have been here for... Oh my goodness, it's been, just over a year. I started in November 2023, so we've passed the year mark now.
Cool. Yeah, it feels like you've been here a long time. It's great.
Yeah.
You're everywhere.
Oh, I'm everywhere, yeah. So I spend at least a day a week, usually at each campus, and so it can be hard to track me down. That's for sure, because I pop around depending on who needs me.
Sure.
So I try to stay as on a regular schedule as I can.
Right.
But, you know, when things happen, I gotta go.
Right. So let's talk about your regular schedule.
Yeah.
If you're a current student out there, not that you'll be interacting with Deleasha a lot.
No, typically not. Oftentimes, if you're interacting with me, it means that it might not be such a good conversation that we're having, because a lot of the time I interact with students when their cases get escalated. So when something maybe not so great has happened. But I mean, if you see me in the hallway, I love to say hi.
Right. And I want to encourage you guys. We also like it when things are going right.
Yes.
So it would be cool to
goodness.
escalate something to Deleasha. It's like, we just love you guys.
Right? Yeah. Come on. Tell me all the good things. I want to hear from you all the good things.
So don't forget, when things are going great, let her know, because it always makes us feel better.
It really does.
And we do, honestly. You know, I think every institution has challenges. I mean, there's a lot of students to deal with. There's a lot of people to get stuff done for. But we really try to do our best for everybody.
Yeah, we do. And really, in the end, I mean, I say when things get bad, they escalated to me. But I don't deal with a lot of student cases. A lot of what I do is more the high level, like managing the department, sitting in meetings. I sit in a lot of meetings. In fact, today, Outlook sent me a little email that says, it seems you have a lot of meetings scheduled this week. You might want to schedule some focused downtime.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
So, yeah, I know. Really interesting.
Computer's nice.
Right. So I don't deal with a lot of student cases, but I'm always excited to hear student stories and talk to students and see where they come from. I like to hang out in the lobby when I can, when I have like a 5-minute break just to say hi to people. So, yeah.
All right, let's go back in time.
Yes.
You watch Big Bang Theory?
I have, yeah. I'm actually watching it for the first time right now.
Oh, really? I love it. Well, there's one episode where they get the time machine. Have you seen that one? And then they all
I saw that one the other day.
Pretty funny. That's a really off subject.
Very much.
So you come from where originally?
So I was where I was born.
Yeah.
So I was born in Canada, actually. So I'm a dual citizen.
Canada.
Yeah. So my dad is Canadian. My mom is American. And so I was born in Saskatchewan, Canada, which is like in the middle of the country, the prairie land.
Corner gas.
Yeah.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, check it out.
Yeah, so I was born there. Shortly afterwards, my family moved out to British Columbia, which is just 2.5 hours north of Seattle Colleges. Actually, a lot of our students love to go up to Vancouver when they can on the weekend if they Some of them need a visa to do it. Some of them don't. But just to visit Vancouver, say they've been to another country. I mean, come on. It's like a bonus. It's so close.
And Amtrak goes, so you can take the train.
Right. Yeah. And so so that's where I grew up. And then in 2010, my family moved down to Everett, Washington, which is about an hour north of here. And not even actually. But anyways. Yeah. And I graduated from high school down here in the States, and then Lake Stevens technically, but Greater Everett area.
Sure.
And then went to Everett Community College for a year to finish out my associate's degree, and then went on to
a community college.
I know, a community college graduate. Yeah, not Seattle colleges. I know,
it's okay.
So it's a little disappointing, but.
But Everett's a good school.
It is a good school.
It's just further away from the city. So if you could, one thing that Everett Community College, I don't like to promote other schools.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh my goodness.
But Everett Community College has some sports programs. So if you're out there and you're looking for a team to play on, Everett does have some sports.
There you go. I did not know that.
Yeah, they have a soccer team, I think, maybe a basketball team. We don't have sports here at Seattle colleges. We have some club teams. But
we do, and they're gaining some traction actually across a couple of the campuses. We just had a basketball tournament between the 3 colleges. I didn't hear who won, but I heard people had fun.
Yeah. I'll ask around. I know guys who play. So.
Okay. Yeah. So after I did that, I had finished my associate's degree, and then I transferred to a university. I actually went back up to Canada and did my undergraduate degree in linguistics.
I have a question for you then. At our last transfer fair, we had at least 3 Canadian universities at our transfer fair.
Did we?
Yeah. And I wonder about the transfer process. So if you start undergrad work in the U.S., then transferring to a Canadian school, how is that?
That's a really good question. So the university I went to was Trinity Western University. Wonderful school. It's between Vancouver and, well, I guess you won't know where Chilliwack is, but it's in Langley, British Columbia. Okay, there you go. So it's between the two. And it's a privately owned school. They have really great business programs, really great a nursing program that's really well known, reputable. I went for applied linguistics, which, if you don't know what linguistics is, it's the study of language and how it functions and is created and is used in society. And did my undergraduate I did that, and as well as a certificate in teaching English as a second language. But when I transferred there, it was really interesting because a lot of schools that we have partnerships with here in Washington or some beyond there, a lot of them have what we call direct transfer agreements, right? So it's after you finish your program, they'll guarantee you into their school with your junior status and ability to just complete the program in 2 years, typically, unless you're taking a very specialized program. But because it was out of country, there wasn't a direct transfer agreement. And so something that I wish I had known and tell people all the time when they're looking at doing something similar to what I did is you should always talk to the school that you're transferring to make sure that they're going to accept everything or that you have enough credits to go in the status that you thought you were. So I thought I was going in with only 2 years left of my degree. Drop my phone. I thought I was going in with only 2 years left of my degree, but because there was one requirement that they had that I hadn't met at Everett, and because there was no agreement, I ended up having to take an extra semester. So it wasn't terribly much longer, but it could have been depending on the classes that I had taken. So I always recommend to students, if you're thinking of transferring and you know that you're going to a school where it's not a direct transfer agreement, I always recommend just talking with your admissions team and just making sure that that what you're transferring in is going to put you where you think it's going to.
That is that's like gold right there. That's really great advice. So the earlier the better, in my opinion, even before you start your community college or wherever, just start talking to the places you think you might transfer to. Do you take international students? And if so, how does that work? The more you know.
Well, and the process to get your transcript evaluated can take a really long time. Some schools will ask for you to go through an official process where you work with an agency to get your transcript like notarized and translated and all of those things if it's coming from a language that's not English. Some schools don't have the same requirements, so I always recommend if you are going to be transferring something in, you should really plan ahead of time. You can't just show up like the first day and say, okay, here are all of the classes I've taken.
Right.
What's left? It just doesn't work that way.
Oh, cool. Okay, so you did your undergrad, finished your undergrad in British Columbia.
I did, yeah. So I graduated from my undergrad in December of 2018.
Cool.
And moved back to Seattle. Got a job teaching English as a second language at Alps Language School.
With our friends at Alps.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alps.
Yeah, Alps is a privately owned English language school that's actually right up the street from Seattle colleges you can walk to and from.
Literally.
Sometimes I go visit on my lunch break just to say hi to Carrie.
Cool.
Yeah. But they're a wonderful school, and I worked there for several years, and in the process of working there, when 2020 rolled around, I was ready to go back to school, and I ended up doing my master's in teaching English as a second language.
Cool. Yeah. And
I did that through Biola University, which is based in Los Angeles, California, but I did it online. So I was working, doing my classes, doing all that, and then I finished that in, 2022, I think. And then kept working. I was working as their director of academics, or academic director, when I found out about the position here at Seattle Colleges for the director of international student services. Came here last year.
Cool. Well, it's been great having you here.
Yeah.
I got to say, I've really enjoyed working with you personally. And if you're out there, let's just talk about Alps for a second. Some students need to improve their English before they're allowed to get into their program.
Right.
We, of course, have our Institute of English here at Seattle Colleges.
Absolutely.
So we love to have you start your foreign language, or English as a foreign language here. But you can also do it at a place like Alps, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Alps has all levels. We have a partnership with them that allows students who finish certain Alps levels to transfer here into our College Bridge program, which is really exciting. The fun thing about Alps, they call themselves a boutique language school. They're so friendly and so personal. The class sizes, they cap at like small. 8 to 10 students or something like that. It was 8 when I was there. I don't know if it's still 8 now, but they cap it so that you are always getting attention from your instructor. They have short sessions, so each session is 4 weeks long, and you can take as many sessions as you want. So you can actually, if you're an F1 student, you can get an I-20 for one session, 1 4-week session, all the way up to, if you want to stay for a year, if you want to do different things. So it's really, really cool, because some students will decide, I just need a little bit of English help before I go to my next school. So they'll go for 1, 2, or 3 months and then transfer on to a university or anything like that. But they specialize in so many things. They have reading and writing classes, speaking, listening classes. They have TOEFL preparation. So if you're interested in taking the TOEFL, they can help you with that. And then they have a lot of what they call special topics classes. And these are kind of like elective classes. Things like discussing the news, where they talk about just anything that's current events. They have just all sorts of really cool things if you want to learn to speak about different topics and different ideas. And so I love Alps. I have a special place for it in my heart. Like I said, I go and visit, and I'll take them baked goods and things like that sometimes.
She does great baked goods.
I do. I loved it. That is, that's in addition to being the director of international student
You're
services,
a baker.
I also bake.
A lot.
I do, yes. I always have something that I'm floating around, but
you're like Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso always brings biscuits with the boss.
Okay.
You should watch it.
Oh, there we go. But yeah, so Alps is a great spot if you're looking for something and you're either not wanting to come to our SCIE program, or you feel like you just need a little bit more support before you transfer into Seattle College's Institute of English. It's a great spot.
Yeah, especially if you're in the lower levels. Like if you're really not very strong in English, it's a really nice place to get a start, I think. And then, when you get to level 3, come on over. And,
absolutely. Well, and the other thing, just real quick, that's really cool about ALPS is that they are set up really nicely for other visa types to study part-time as well.
Do tell.
So students who are here as tourists who just want to learn some English while they're here, they could take a couple of hours of class a day because they're allowed to study part-time. Same with like F2 dependents. So if you're coming as an F1 student and you have a spouse or an adult child who just wants something to do, wants to learn their English, improve English, ALPS is a great spot for that. We had people at ALPS on all sorts of visa types studying.
Interesting.
Not full-time, but studying.
That's really good to know. I didn't know that. If they want to go to ALPS first, I know because my territories are Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East. A lot of the students I talk to or their parents are concerned that if they apply to a place like ALPS or EF or something, that they won't get their visa.
I see.
What's your take on that?
That's such a good question. My advice typically, because it's a concern students face all the time if they're coming, even just for an English language program, even if it's at a community college or a university, students often have this concern of, oh, well, because it's just English, I'm not going to be able to get a visa. And really what's more important is that you're able to share your plan long term.
I agree.
Right? That's what Customs and Border Patrol, that's what the consular officer is looking for when you go to your visa interview, is they're looking for you to be able to say, like, this is my plan. I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and this is why it's important. So if you're able to say to them, I'm coming to ALPS Language School, I'm coming to the English language program at Seattle Colleges, and I'm going to improve my English for X number of months, and then my plan is to either start a college level program, or I'm going to come back home and use this to build my business or to different things like that. Typically, the plan is a lot more important than the school. I'm not going to deny that sometimes people get denied for different reasons. I can't say that. But most of the time, the consular officers they care more about your plan and hearing that you have thought through what you're going to do.
More gold. That's really good stuff. The more you're prepared, the better your plan. It doesn't guarantee. It just improves your chances of that visa. So great. That's really good. That's cool. Yeah, I worked at EF and I taught adults in China for at least a year. Yeah. And I really loved it. I thought it was great. Class sizes were small. They had something similar called English Corner, where we would do specialized topics, and we were given a lot of latitude to come up with whatever we wanted. Like one of our instructors did a whole Magic the Gathering, session.
Oh, that's so fun.
I think I did numerous on American sports, where to actually take them outside and play football in the streets.
Oh, fun.
So that was kind of fun, yeah.
Yeah, ALPS has a really great activities program. So every 4 weeks, in every 4-week session, they have, I think it's 3 or 4 different events that they do. So for St. Patrick's Day, they took students to Stoop Brewing last weekend just because they had a game night and St. Patrick's Day theme going on. They've done museum trips and little tours of different Seattle neighborhoods.
Great idea.
It's also a great way to just get to know the culture of Seattle when you're first here. Yeah.
So we're going to send an invoice to ALPS for all this free advertising we're doing.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
But it is a way to go. If you're out there and you're thinking about needing some English language instruction before you get into your college program, either starting here with our intensive English program or starting something a little smaller at ALPS, either way is a good way to go.
And again, if you have a spouse or an adult child who's coming with you who needs something to do, that's another really great spot for them to be.
So tell them, I kind of know, but explain, it's okay, let's say I do a few weeks or a few sessions at ALPS and then I want to transfer down to Seattle Colleges. How do they do that? How do they get their I-20 from there over to here?
Oh, that's a great question. So my number one piece of advice is just to talk to the designated school official or DSO at the school that you're transferring from, whether it's ALPS, whether it's another community college, whether it's a university. If you already are in the United States and you have your I-20, and you're studying at a school and you want to study at another school, the first step is always to talk to your advisor. because they have lots of information and they'll be able to help you through the process effectively. But essentially, in order to transfer your record from one school to another, you're going to need to apply to the new school.
Number one,
make sure that you have acceptance. You're going to need to apply to the school, get accepted, and then present your acceptance letter to the school that you're currently studying at. Now, different schools have different processes of how that they do this. For example, here at Seattle Colleges, we have you fill out a transfer out request in our system, SCD Global, where you upload that and tell us a little bit about information about where you're going. And it's also a spot where you can give a little bit of feedback if there's a reason that you're leaving us, whether it's just, I achieved my goal and I'm on to the next thing. You know, you can give us a little bit of feedback there. So every school has a little bit of a different process. Some schools may ask you to have your new school fill out a CVIS form that just... they call it a transfer out form typically, where it just has the DSO at your current school give a little bit of information about your record, whether you've maintained status, whether you've taken advantage of vacation quarters, reduced course loads, things like that. And then they'll submit it to your school where you want to go, and then they'll give you your acceptance after that. So it kind of depends a little bit based on school procedure, but the very basic CVIS procedure is you give an acceptance letter to your current school, and then they transfer your record to your new school.
There you go. And because we have such a close relationship with ALPS in particular, that process is pretty simple.
Oh, yeah. And ALPS is very quick, so those things can happen pretty quickly.
What I've received questions from students that are making the transfer about timing. Because, you know, we have 4 quarters here at Seattle Colleges, and those dates are very set. So sometimes, you know, ALPS, because they have shorter periods, it's like, well, how should I time it? Like, maybe I don't want to spend a lot of money at ALPS. I want to save that money so I can spend it at Seattle Colleges. How much time do they need between the time they start thinking about I mean, how would you recommend they time it?
Transferring from ALPS to Seattle Colleges? Well, the nice thing is that ALPS knows our dates, and so they're they're pretty good about helping keep you in time. But the important thing is date-wise that you should plan ahead. Don't just, you know, look at the calendar and say, oh, Seattle Colleges is starting on Monday. I want to transfer. That's not going to work so much. But if you give it about a few weeks to a month, you know, I would say is a good lead time for this particular transfer. Is a good idea just to have a lot of time, because you need to apply and get accepted. And our admissions team, they're really good about getting things processed, but you do need to make sure that you've submitted all of your correct documentation. So if you started your application but you haven't finished it, they can't process your application. And so from the time that your application is completed, they should be able to get to it within a week or so. I mean,
they tell me 3 days. But
okay, that's what
allow a week just to be safe.
Give grace, give a week. But.
And you know, if you go onto our website, you're going to see 2 deadlines for applications. One's a general deadline, and one is transfer deadline.
Right. Yeah. So that's actually closer to the actual start date.
Right. And if they're coming from ALPS, they're considered transfer students.
Correct.
So gives you a little bit of extra time, but don't wait.
No.
I mean, the more proactive you are, the better.
Because then on the other part of that is, even if we can get your application processed and get you accepted and all of that, the other thing to consider is registering for classes.
Right? That's true.
And so the earlier you're able to register for classes, the better the chances that you're going to get the classes that you specifically want to take.
Right.
If you leave it until 2 weeks before the quarter starts and you're getting in, you might end up taking some fairly random courses just because that's all that's left, and you have to maintain your visa status. You can't defer to a next quarter.
Okay, now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty.
Here we go.
So really, one of the big things is getting into classes that you want.
Oh,
registering
my goodness.
for classes.
Yeah.
And I know that one of the things Deleasha does is talks to students about that. So this is a great opportunity for us to talk to you about registering for classes. So what's your golden advice to students? Let's start with brand new students first.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about students that have been here for quarter.
Yeah.
So brand new student, let's say they're in Nigeria, they got their acceptance letter, they know they're coming. Mm-hmm. What do you recommend for them as far as registration goes?
Great question. Look at your acceptance materials for the new student checklist.
Absolutely.
That is
Please look at it.
Part number one. Really, so what happens is, the good news is in your first quarter, the advisors register you for classes. So you don't have to register yourself for classes. Mm-hmm. But we don't know to register you for classes until you fill out what's called our intent to enroll form.
Super important, people. And this is probably true at any community college, I'm guessing. It's something similar. But 100% good
because
stuff.
what the intent to enroll form does, number one, is it tells us, like, yes, I am planning to come. We issue a lot of acceptances. We have a lot of students who get an I-20 from Seattle colleges, but for some reasons, either it's they can't get a visa appointment, or they decide that they want to change their plans and come later. So there's a lot more students who are accepted for a quarter than sometimes actually come. And so we don't register everyone for classes, because then we'd have to unregister everyone for classes. And then
would be a bother.
The different departments might not be so excited with us. Yeah. So the intent to enroll form tells us that you're planning to come. And it also gives us your permission to register you for classes.
I did not know that.
And so that's really important, because when we register you classes for your behalf, and then you don't show up and say, well, I never registered for classes, I don't know why you're sending me a bill. It's like, well, we had your permission to register you for class. Right. So it gives us permission, and it tells us that you're coming. So until you fill out that intent to enroll form, we will not register you for classes.
Super duper important.
Yeah. And so if you're watching this and you're supposed to be starting in this next quarter, please go fill that out
right
now. Pause and then come back, because it is so important. And we update that. I actually update that. I take the data from that form and pass it along to advisors every day, so that they're aware. And so once you've filled out that form, then your advisor will see your name on a spreadsheet, and they'll look at what degree plan you're doing, what courses that you might want to take, and we'll help you get registered from there. There are a couple of other items in that onboarding checklist to pay attention to. It might ask you to fill out a pre-registration form. Some degrees have that, some degrees don't. So that's really like your golden ticket, is checking that form if you're a new student. And then the other piece is always making sure that your contact information is up to date, because
super important.
We'll send you your schedule, but if it's not an email that you're checking, you won't get your schedule until you come here. So that's the other piece, is make sure that we have your updated contact info.
I'm telling you, this is all golden advice, guys. If you are coming to our school, or any school really, this is all really good information. So let's say the advisor signs them up for 3 classes, and one of them is a math class, but they haven't taken their math placement test yet. How does that work?
We won't register them for the math class until they've taken. So for some classes like math, you do have to take, it's called directed self-placement. It's kind of like a test, kind of like an assessment of your self-assessment of your skills. But you have to do that before we can register you into a math class.
And can they do it from the country that they're in?
Yep, it's all online. We have links to it in the
materials.
Yeah, in the materials, in the acceptance materials, there is a link to where to do that. And then also, just in case you missed that link, when your advisor starts registering you for classes and sees, they wanted to take a math class, but they don't have placement information, they'll send you an email and say, hey, I've registered you for English 101 and ISD 200, but I can't register you for math until you take this. And so at that point.
Is there a fee?
No.
Oh, the math placement's free. Oh, I always thought there was.
I've done it because I was trying to see how the students would do it, and so
That's
I
really cool.
went into it. So yeah, there's no fee.
Okay, now if they come from an English-speaking country like, say, South Africa, Malawi, Kenya, they don't have to provide an English placement test results, but maybe they want to get into English.
Right.
So do they take a self-directed English?
Yes. So there's an English directed self-placement, and any native English speaker from one of the countries. There's a list of the countries in our English proficiency information where we would not make you submit English placement as part of your application. But in order to enroll in classes that in an English class, you do have to take the English directed self-placement, just like students who are from Seattle need to take the English directed self-placement.
Our domestic students,
Yeah, so it's universal.
And don't panic. I want you guys to just breathe for a second.
That's right.
This is not going to impact whether you get into the Seattle colleges or anything. It's just where you start your academic journey.
Yeah, it happens after you've been accepted. It happens before you register for classes.
So don't worry even if you bomb it. I mean, not that you would, but
right. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Good stuff. Really good. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, so you have we have 3 campuses. Yeah. And you spend a little time at each campus. What's your schedule like? Which day are you scheduled to be at each campus?
Ooh, good question. You trying to get people to come knock at my door?
No. But it is nice to know where you are.
Yeah, I like to say hi to people. So typically, as of right now, this has been the same for a few quarters, so maybe it'll actually stick. On Mondays, I'm at our North campus.
Okay.
Tuesdays, I'm here at Central. Wednesdays are my floating days, so just kind of wherever I'm most needed, or sometimes that'll be a remote day for me. And then Thursdays, I'm at our South campus.
Gotcha. Now, this might put you in a really tough position. But
I know what you're going to ask.
Is there a campus that you like better than another one?
I like all of them.
Okay, that's a good answer.
I can tell you a little bit about why I like different
Sure,
ones.
yeah, please do.
Yeah, so we'll start with North. One of the things that I like about the North campus is just the buildings and the space is really kind of cool.
I think it's a cool space.
It's a unique architectural space as opposed to the other 2 campuses. So that's kind of fun. And there's a lot of concrete, but then there's a lot of greenery too.
There's a lot of greenery.
And they've very purposefully tried to incorporate nature into the midst of the architecture. So there's a really beautiful fountain surrounded by some different greenery and things like that.
And have you been out to the garden?
I personally have not.
You should walk out there, especially this time of year when they're starting to get it going.
Yeah.
Check out the garden at North. It's really cool.
And then here at Central, one of my favorite things, to be just completely honest, is I love the food options.
There's a lot of food options.
There's so many good food options. I particularly love, there's a place just right up the street. It's called Rondo. It's Japanese cuisine. And their seafood udon is just one of my favorite things. The unfortunate thing is they're closed on Tuesdays, which is when I'm most often here. But it's wonderful. We also have a couple of ice cream places really close by, Salt and Straw and
I do not know these places.
Molly Moon's. Oh my gosh, both of them are so good. Molly Moon's has a pumpkin ice cream in October that is so good.
Good to know.
But anyways, the food options, because we're right downtown, right? And so there's lots of stuff to do, lots of within walking distance.
What do our Japanese students say about the place?
I've not talked to any of our Japanese students, but I will say that the first person to ever take me to Rondo was one of my dear friends who is one of my students at Alps, who is from Japan.
Well, that's high praise then.
So she really enjoyed that spot. So I will say that. So that's Central. And then South, when I think of South, when I describe South to students, I describe it as think of a mid-90s, early 2000s college movie. Think of the campus from that. That's kind of South. It has a very American college campus feel to it. There's a clock tower and it's spread out.
Yeah.
It's in a good neighborhood. It's in West Seattle.
Yeah, it's a nice place.
They've got a lovely little cafe where you can go and do your homework and drink coffee.
I wish we had their cafe here.
I know.
I love that cafe.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Alki Cafe is absolutely wonderful. So each campus is just a little different. So I can't. There's not one.
Okay, fair enough. And the Chinese garden at South is really legit.
Yeah.
Check that out. It's really beautiful. It's similar to if you've been to Portland, Oregon, the Chinese garden in Portland, Oregon. Very similar. Not as big, but it's great.
Right.
Well, that's cool. And then you are in charge of all, well, let's just talk about who you direct.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I oversee kind of two groups of people and of services. So I oversee our advising team. So all of our advisors are immigration and academic advisors in the international department. And so I oversee that team. So doing a lot of work with making sure that we're up to date with the most recent immigration guidance from the government, what's going on internationally, all of those things, but also making sure that we're keeping up with the programs at each school and how each campus is dealing with different academic issues. So we do kind of all of that.
Cool.
And then the other group of people that fall under the student services umbrella is our front desk teams at each campus. Yeah. So I also oversee that. We have an associate director of international student services who's been on the podcast. Shun.
Famous Shun.
Go watch his interview. It's
a really great interview.
It's so good. But he oversees our front desk managers, and so just making sure that we have an on-campus presence that's welcoming and a place where students want to hang out and come. That's kind of, I guess, the umbrella that I oversee.
Actually, I got to go back because I didn't let you finish on the other question because we talked about what do brand new students do.
Oh my goodness, we did.
I forgot to let you finish. So if you're a veteran student, you're already here, or if you're coming and you're going to want to know how to do it in the future after your first quarter, what's your recommendation for those students, the veteran students?
Do it as soon as you can.
As soon as you can.
Register as soon as you can is always going to be my advice for that. You register yourself after your first quarter. We are more than happy to help you if you're trying to decide what classes to take, or you have an issue registering for one of your classes. We're happy to help, but we don't enroll students beyond their first quarter. So pay attention to the dates for when registration is going to open for continuing students. It's always a week before that when new students can register. And
unless you're living in a hole somewhere, you'll hear because everybody talks about it.
Yeah. And so just prepare that and be aware of it, kind of have an idea of what classes you want to take. Because again, classes fill up, especially when we go into our summer quarter. Summer quarter does not offer as many classes as all of the other quarters. Yeah. And so it can be really competitive to get into classes, depending on your program. So I always just advise students, as soon as you can, just start registering for classes. And then something to know that maybe many students might not know is that summer registration and fall registration open at the same time.
Good to know. Yeah.
So if you're here in the spring and you're getting ready to register for summer, know that you can also register for fall at the same time.
Super important. Because classes do fill up, especially the popular ones. Yeah.
They do. Oh my goodness, they do. And so it's really important to be on top of that. And know what you're going to take. If you haven't already, it's always a good idea to talk with your advisor. Advisors are available to set up appointments to do an education plan. That might be something, if you've been here for 1 or 2 quarters, good idea to maybe go in and sit down with your advisor and book an appointment with them.
Right. But also be prepared for that meeting with your advisor.
Yes.
If you can do as much of your own homework first. When I went to school, especially when I started at a community college, this is going to date me a little bit, but we had paper catalogs and it would have everything in it. And I would actually remember, I would write out all the classes I would need, and I would know that this is the order I'm going to do them in. They can still do that, yeah?
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. So you have ability through Starfish, which is one of our internal systems. We also have degree planning, worksheets.
Cool.
All of the course catalogs open online. So you can do a lot of that yourself and build out what you think would be best. And honestly, that's the best use of your time.
I agree.
Because you have limited time with your advisor, maybe 30 minutes to an hour to sit down and talk about your degree plan. If you come in and have an idea of what you're thinking, that's going to be a much more productive conversation than having to start from the beginning with your advisor and walk through each of those pieces together. You're going to actually be able to get into a lot more detail with your advisor. Yeah.
And anytime we can make the advisor's life easier, guys, we like to do that because there's a lot of people that want to see them. So
yes, it's very true. Any appointment that you're going in for your advisor, it's a good idea. Like if you're wanting to go in and talk to your advisor about transferring to another school, don't just come to the appointment and say, I'd like to transfer to a school. You know, like, okay. That's not, you're going to have a really hard time actually getting anywhere in that appointment. Whereas if you come in and say, hey, I'm looking to take this degree or something like this degree, and I'm looking at UW, and I'm looking at Washington State University, and I'm looking at Portland University of Portland or whichever. So anytime you're going to have an appointment with your advisor, come prepared because you will benefit more from that conversation.
Right. And it'll really help your advisor help you, which is really great.
Because they know what you want.
Because they know what you want. Yeah. In the United States, our education system is set up for self-advocacy.
It really is.
And we want you to be independent. Maybe a little different than what you're used to, but we really want you to take ownership of your journey. And we'll be there to help you, but in the end, it's your life. So
it's very true.
Cool, very good. Oh, do you hear that? It's trivia time.
Oh boy!
Dun, 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 dun. This is where they ask the 5 questions. These are going to be tough.
Okay.
But let's see how you do since you're the master.
Oh boy!
All right, here we go. First question. In between British Columbia and Saskatchewan is a province. What is the name of that province?
Alberta.
Alberta! I had to start you easy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because if you're going to drive from Saskatchewan to British Columbia, you have to go through Alberta.
You do.
What's your favorite province? Just out of curiosity.
Oh my goodness. This is funny. I love Ontario.
Oh.
British
did not
Columbia.
expect that.
British Columbia is where I'm from. That's where I grew up, but my family's all out in Ontario. My dad's family's all out there, and so I just have lots of really sweet memories going out to visit them and going around the nation's capital and all of that. So I do. My dad, if he watches this, is gonna laugh because he's like, he does not want to move back to the East Coast. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. But I have a special place in my heart for Ontario.
Cool. Shout out to Ontario. Shout out to all our Canadians. We want you to know how much we love you, especially at this time in our life. I'm a big fan of the Banff, Lake Louise area.
Oh my gosh, Banff is beautiful.
If I won the lottery, I think that's where I'd want to go. It's so nice. So great. So if you're a student at Seattle colleges, like she said, you can get permission to go into Canada, get your visa.
Yeah.
Please go explore our neighbors to the north because it's wonderful.
It is.
All right, question number 2. If I want to go on vacation, what do I need to do as an international student?
Ooh, good question. Inside or outside the U.S.?
Outside the U.S.
Outside the U.S., get your I-20 signed.
Ta-da! Ding, 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 ding. These are easy questions for you answer these every day.
Yes, true.
Very good. All right. This one's a little bit harder. Name the capital of the state of Washington.
Olympia.
Wow, great.
You have me panicked. I'm like, capital.
It's pretty hard. You'd be shocked at how many people don't know the geography of them.
Yeah, lots of people think Seattle's the capital.
I know,
Washington.
Right? But it's not. And Olympia, you can just take the train down there, go check it out. It's a cute little town. I really like the downtown area.
Yeah.
All right, question number 4. There are 3 national parks around Seattle. Name 2 of them.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Olympic National Park.
Good.
Is Olympics. One. Another national park. I don't know.
Oh, maybe I got her.
Yeah, I think you did.
So Olympic National Park, that's good. A lot of people don't remember that one. Oh. There's a big mountain off to the south. Yeah, Mount Rainier National Park.
Oh, of course.
And then North Cascades National Park.
Oh, okay.
There the other direction. So nice.
There we go.
Good job. All right, and the last one is, what is the last movie you saw in the theaters?
Oh, in theater, what have I haven't been to a theater. Oh, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is the Hunger Games prequel.
Oh,
so
that was a movie?
Yeah. Oh. They made this was 2 years ago that it came out. It's been a while now, maybe 1.5. Actually, the new book just released.
I was
today.
just going to tell you, yeah.
Yes, I pre-ordered my copy through Amazon a few weeks back, but it doesn't get here till Thursday, so.
Gonna have to wait a couple days.
I will.
Yeah, I just saw that in the New York Times, I think, today that book was coming out.
I know. I'm so excited. I read those books when I was in middle school.
Oh, okay.
to put a date on when I was in middle school. That's when I read those books. But then that author has another series for younger students that I read prior to, like, when I was in elementary school. It's called The Underland Chronicles. It's about a little boy, like a 12-year-old boy in New York who falls down a hole behind a dryer in his apartment's laundry room and finds a world underneath the world.
Very cool.
Where there's like giant bats that you can fly on and like giant animals of different sorts. Called they call it The Underland. And there's like a prophecy about this boy. And so it's this 5-book series about this. And so I was really familiar with that. And then when the Hunger Games came out, that's how I got into it. So.
And actually, I've read at least a couple of the Hunger Games books, and I got to say they're really engaging. So if you're looking for something to read that you haven't,
they're hard to read. Like reading them now as an adult versus reading them as a teenager.
Yeah.
Because the main character is a teenager, and there's a lot of violence that happens, right, in these books. And so as a teenager, you think you're invincible, and so you think a teenage main character is also invincible. And then when you read it as an adult, and you're looking at the things that a teenager is journeying through, you're like, my goodness, we need to protect our kiddos.
That's right. Well, I was an invincible teenager, so
there you go.
It worked out. So silly. Well, cool. No, normally I ask people to say something in their first languages. Your first language is English, yeah?
My first language is English.
Do you speak any other languages?
Je parle français.
Ah, c'est bien. J'ai oublié que tu parles français.
Je parle français. I mean, Canadian, so.
Well, that's true. Duh.
And then hablo un poquito de español.
Sí,
but only a little bit. Only a little.
So our front desk managers, all of them have second languages, don't they? I think Rachel speaks Chinese.
Maybe. I actually don't know if all of them do. We definitely have staff at each front desk that speak other languages.
Sure.
So we have student workers and lots of people in our office have a second language.
It's true. Don't rely on us, of course.
Yeah, of course.
If like we had a kid come into the IP office the other day, and he was looking for an Arabic speaker, and normally we have like an international ambassador who speaks Arabic.
Right,
or something.
yeah.
Nobody was around that day, so I felt really bad. But we stumbled through a conversation. Okay. It was he got the help he needed, but it was a little more challenging.
There you go.
But we want to encourage you to practice your English. Come on in. We won't make fun of you for sure.
That's right, because I guarantee you that your English is better than our attempts at your first language.
For sure.
So,
for sure. Well, very cool. We're wrapping it up. I always ask the last question is, you've already given so many great nuggets of wisdom and information. Definitely have to have you back down the road. But, any last bits of wisdom or advice that you want to impart to our either future students or our existing students? Because hopefully they're listening to this as well.
Yeah, that's a great question. I always encourage students to have grace for themselves in the midst of this process. You are doing something that is a really big deal. Coming to another country to study, leaving your family, leaving your support systems, everything that you're familiar with, to come to a new country to study. That is not a small thing. So have grace for yourself. You're going to have moments where you make a mistake, whether it's in class or whether it's, buying stuff at the grocery store and you say the wrong word or you forget or you realize that you don't have the ingredients you have at home. Like, there's always going to be small things. Just have grace for yourself. Give yourself space to laugh at yourself or to laugh at the situation and just be like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life, but apparently this is how Americans live. Have the grace to laugh and give yourself time to acclimate and enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, you can actually show up for your first semester 30 days in advance.
Yeah.
And if you can swing it, I highly recommend you go out as far as you can, because that extra time, finding a place to live if you don't have one already, just looking around town as a tourist. Yeah,
getting used to the spot that you're going to be, because the more comfortable you feel in one area, that's really going to help as you're still getting used to other areas. For sure. So I would agree. If you can come early, do. Don't worry, your health insurance is going to cover you in that time. But it's just such a good idea because it lets you settle before you start school.
And our orientations are usually the week before.
Yeah, come to orientation. Start. There's another good piece of advice.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of people kind of be like, do I really need to go? But I got to tell you, it's not just good information, but you also get the chance to network with your cohort of students, which is really powerful.
Yes, to have people who are going through the same thing as you is always really good. And then to just get to know the school in a more informal way, like to come to school when you don't have to immediately find your classroom, but you can just like walk around and see the campus and the different offices. Like that's a great call. We do tours, so that's helpful. But yeah, orientation is a great time to just come and get settled and get your questions answered and all of those things.
Yeah, be prepared. It's a lot of information, but that's kind of the point. Come, get exposed to it all. If you have questions, we're always happy to answer those later down the road. Deleasha, thanks so much for coming on the show. So great. It was so fun. Appreciate it. Yeah. You can always reach out to us through our emails or through what's the front desk's general email address so that they have it.
So we have 3.
Oh yeah,
because each campus has one. So North is INTL, which is short for international. So INTL North at seattlecolleges.edu. Centrals is INTL Central at seattlecolleges.edu, and South is INTL South at seattlecolleges.edu. So you can email any of those. Once we typically encourage prospective students to email you guys, marketing and outreach, but you can always reach out and we'll direct your email accordingly.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's checking that account, by the way?
Our front desk managers, student workers. Our front desk team monitors and responds.
So someone's going to get your email pretty quickly. So
it's monitored daily.
Okay.
Except for Saturday, Sunday. We take the weekends.
And holidays, probably.
And holidays. We're not checking on holidays.
Of course. All right, great. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming back every Wednesday right here on Seattle College's Conversations With. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We want to grow our listenership. Whether you come to our school or another one, the information here is really great. We hope you'll consider us first.
Yeah.
Seattle College is a great place to start. Consider community colleges. Wonderful place.
Yes.
We're both graduates.
Absolutely.
Yay, community colleges. All right, guys. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Conversations With is painstakingly crafted for you by the Seattle College's International Programs Department and supported by the lovely folks here on our campus. This show is produced and edited by me, Evan Franulovich. We welcome your emails and questions about coming to Seattle Colleges. Please reach out to us via our website or just give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, as this helps others discover the show. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube at Seattle Colleges INTL. That's Seattle Colleges INTL. And be sure to check out all of the shows here on Conversations With. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.